Hi everyone. Today we are going to see about the topics of forms. The previous video we have discussed about the structure of the documents. Now we have seen about the forms. So form is generally used to collect the information from the users. As we know, if we want to collect any informations, then we will use the forms. So the form is nothing but it is an element. It is used to create an HTML form for the user input. So how the form has to be declared in the HTML, that is open place rectangular and then form and then close the right angle. This is nothing but form. So the form elements is nothing but the interactive parts of the website in order to collect our user data. For example, login screen or search box or checkout forms, whatever may be. And then the form elements, we have once open form, then we have speak closed. This form element is nothing but the container for different types of input elements, so the text fields, and then for the checkboxes, we have different types of forms. For radio button, we have different types of forms, and submit buttons, we have different types of forms. Let us look at this one by one. And then the form controls. The form control is nothing but it is an interactive component that must be embedded within the web pages. So that must be embedded within the particular web pages. And also they allows the user to enter text. We can enter the text, or we can have the checkboxes, or we can have to select the options, that is one by one. So for example, if you want to mention our gender, we have the buttons and then the click buttons. For in order to submit a form, we need to have the buttons. So how this forms has been worked? First, the user input. A visitor must interact with the control. For example, if you want to type our username and then into a text box, let us look in this with example. Here is a simple example I have posted here. Here is the input elements, and then the HTML input element is the most used form elements. Input elements can be displayed in many ways. That is depending upon the type of elements. We have, as I said earlier, we have the text button in order to display a text, and we have the radio button in order to select any one of the choices, and we have the check boxes in order to select the multiple choices, and we have the submit button, and finally we have the buttons in order to ensure this button has been created. So let us look at these one by one. Input type, we have text. In order to display a single line text, we will use this text options. How this must be declared? Input type, that is equal to text. And the second one, if I want a radio button, then input type is equal to radio. That is displays a radio button in order to select more than, any one of the choices from the input. And the input type equal to checkbox, it will display a checkbox selecting one or more choices. That is for zero or more number of choices. If you want to select, then we will use the checkbox form. And finally, we have to submit the particular form. For the display submit button, and we have to create a button to ensure this button has been clickable one. And finally, we have another example for the radio types. For example, here we have used, I am creating a form with radio buttons. That is the paragraph that I want to choose our favorite web language. So how I will give this as input, in the sense input type equal to radio. I have three languages which I am familiar. That is HTML, CSS, and then the JavaScript. For that, I have mentioned here as input type equal to radio, and then ID equal to HTML, and the name equal to our favorite language. These here favorite language, the value equal to HTML. And then I am creating the label for the HTML, that is called as HTML. And second, the similar thing, input type equal to radio, and then I am creating the ID for CSS and the name of the favorite languages, and then value. Similarly, I have created the label for CSS and then radio. So I will select any one of the favorite languages among this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So hope you can understand what is meant by forms and what are all the input has been specified in the forms. Hopefully you can understand it. Thank you.